In today's video, I talked to two other tech YouTubers, Taekwondo and Danny Z Reviews, and we simply asked the question, is the magic gone? And this pertains to our technology. We talk about Steve Jobs and Apple and the original iPhone launch, and then we talk about where we are today. It seems like our product announcements used to feel like these radical steps forward and revolutionary changes. Meanwhile, today, it seems like we're taking baby steps and sometimes maybe even taking a step backwards, and companies seem to charge a lot more while offering up a lot less. Maybe we're just a little bit too spoiled. Maybe we're out of touch, but ultimately it feels like the magic is gone. And if there's an example of something that used to be great, but maybe it's not so great, definitely let us know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please definitely hit the like button, get subscribed if you're new, and also check out Danny Z Reviews and Taekwondo's YouTube channels. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy. I'm calling this section Is the Magic Gone? So what do I mean by that? So the other day I was talking to a buddy. Somehow we got on the subject of talking about iPhones. I think he was debating somebody about when the first iPhone came out, 2007, by the way. And we were just going back and forth on that. Basically, we just ended up on when the iPhone first came out, whether if you like Apple or not, it was revolutionary for its time. For what it did, it was groundbreaking. They were doing something that hadn't been done. And to this day, that original Steve Jobs announcement of the iPhone is still iconic. Millions of views on the video. People still reference it today. Well, anyway, with that being said, I remember the anticipation for each new iPhone launch. I remember, oh my goodness, when's the new phone coming? What are the features? And just, hyper obsessing over like every little thing.
Yeah.
And the same is true too for Samsung Galaxy phones too, when Samsung was first putting out those phones, and then saw the rise of a lot of YouTubers who focus on that stuff, right? But now it's boring. Like I didn't even realize we're up to 17, I think, on the phones. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't care. Because he said 7. Yeah, I think my buddy said, yeah, the 17 is about to come out. I'm like, 17? I didn't even realize that. Like there was a point in time I could have told you like the name of the OS, the exact revision number, all the features, the difference between this version and that version, and now I don't care, because now I see the shareholder pattern that they have. Every June they have WWDC, Worldwide Developers Conference, where they just show off your software, and then every September they will make the announcement, and by the end of September to the first week of October you will get the phone. By the way, you can always get the phone. You can pre-order it on a Friday, and then 7 days later on the following Friday you can always get the iPhone. So you pre-order it on a Friday, and then the following Friday they start shipping. They never release all the models at the same time. They'll start with 1 to 2 models, and then they'll stagger the launch after that. I should not know this. I do not work at Apple, but I know this. Now, what the heck does that have to do with a PC channel like mine? Because that pattern that I just explained, I think applies to almost everything in the tech industry. Across the board, almost everything. Like I'm not even excited right now to even think about a new GPU. I don't care if it's a Super. I don't care if it's a TI. I don't care if it's a 6000 series. Will I talk about it? Will I cover it? Absolutely. We all will. It's what we do. It's what we're expected to do. Of course, there will be some interest there, and I will, make the videos that I make and do the best I can on the videos. But the genuine excitement is not there, man. And I would be lying if I said it was. And I think it's because we have all come to expect what it's going to be. Switch 2. I have a Switch 2 personally. I enjoy it, but that's because I never play it alone. It's not my main gaming device. I am playing it with my 6-year-old son and my wife, who absolutely loves Mario. Before today's podcast, I was upstairs playing Mario Kart World again with my 6-year-old son. And as we go from 50cc to 100cc to 150cc, and you're struggling to get first place, you finally get first place on all 4 maps, and you unlock everything. It's like, you have that family moment, right? Yeah. That makes the excitement around the console. But in terms of the specs of the console, I couldn't give a crap less, because I saw a comment the other day where somebody literally said, I wish the Switch 2 was more than just an upgraded Switch 1. I was like,
it just feels like a Switch Pro, if anything.
Yeah. There was a time, like I remember growing up, every new piece of hardware that came out, every new service that came out, it felt revolutionary. It felt like groundbreaking technology, like the iPhone. When the iPhone came out, you're like, holy crap, what is this? And you're not just excited for that year, you're excited for the next couple of years, because you want to see how they iterate on that. The next big milestone with that was I think the iPhone 4, when they did the FaceTime. I'll never forget when I saw that for the first time, freaking out and thinking like, what we see in the movies is coming to life. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Now you're just like, oh, okay, cool, like I can count some more calories or whatever, or got the AI features that'll summarize my text messages as
or cap tapped out.
Yeah, it's like we've hit diminishing returns, and you see the same thing. I mean, we all know Nvidia is going to announce the 50 Super Series. It'll probably be in January at CES at this point, if I was a betting man. But we'll wait and see. And we already know it's going to be a marginal upgrade in every category. You might get a little bit of a VRAM increase, and then everybody's going to say the 5080 Super is what the 5080 should have been. Heard that before? 4080 Super, 4080. So that's going to happen, and then 6 to 12 months after that, we'll get the 6000 series, and then all the leak YouTube channels will be like, oh, this is changing the world and revolutionary and just all this
100% faster.
Oh, I got insider leaks, man. And then 99.99999% of all those freaking claims and videos will be useless. They will be wrong information. And Nvidia will come out and probably
they're just part of the YouTube machine, like
for sure.
Just like pumping content.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it's just sometimes I just kind of wish I didn't have all this information. I was a little bit dumber because ignorance is truly bliss. Like nothing feels exciting anymore. I do have a set of friends who are not tech people, and they're behind on everything all the time, like by 3 days. So I'll know about like I was playing Battlefield 6 beta. My buddy hit me up. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Playing Battlefield 6?" He's like, "Is that a thing?" Yeah, dude, it's like the #1 trending game on Twitter right now. Like, how do you not know this is a thing, right? And it's the same thing. It's like, we'll see the iPhone announcement, we'll see the GPU announcement. Like 3 days later, he'll be like, "Hey, man, did you see the new iPhone?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that's like 3 days."
It's our algorithm, It's like what is constantly hitting us.
Right. No, for sure. But it's just like sometimes I wish I was him. I'm jealous of him because he sees the news and he gets excited and then he shares it with me because he's excited. And then I have to be Snape and be all cold about it and just a Harry Potter reference. And
right. Maybe you should do some like budget hardware flips because you meet people who have no understanding of it. And it takes a little time. You got to like some of the customers that I have, they're a little rough. Like it's like, oh God, my return on the $100 I made on those computers completely gone in tech support because I spent like 2 hours helping this kid. But I see it, and then like at the end, this one dude who has, I don't know, a 3080 system that they bought for $800 or something is like obsessed and like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I get to do this. They're so happy. And I think this will contribute a little bit, like when we go around with this conversation to the kind of how we feel versus how maybe somebody else will feel about it, because it's kind of like, it's like that new thing, right? It's like, I remember the first time I discovered mechanical keyboards and got into like the custom space, like where I was like, oh my God, this is so sick. And I was like obsessed with it, dude. I have a whole wall of keyboards that like I look at sometimes and feel a little bit of shame, but it's like too much money in that. But like you were saying, it's like it's really lost its like an upgrade is not really, you're not visually getting an upgrade like you did in like 2008 to 2015. You're getting an upgrade that's like, here's more frames,
here's more frames.
And like if you can take, and actually I had this idea for a video, you guys can feel free to take it if you want to. I have not put it all out, but it was what is the longest lasting GPU? What is the longest lasting GPU? And immediately I was like, oh, the 1080 Ti.
That's what popped in my mind right now, I'll be honest.
But it's not though, because
let me guess, like what, 970?
What can we play Battlefield 6 on right now? I don't even know. I got to figure that out. So maybe we can go all the way down.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
960, like who knows? I don't know.
I got a GTX 950 sitting in there. I might have to try that.
Yeah. So I like, here's the question: how long can you really push a piece of tech? And there is that argument of like E-Rock behind the scenes. We were talking about this, how it's like, it's kind of frustrating sometimes because people who enjoy the tech content, enjoy the tech space, are always like watching the videos, and a lot of times they're upset about like the new prices and stuff, and then they're like, oh well, what are you using? And they're like, well, I have a 1060, and you're like, okay. Like that's awesome, like for pushing it that long, but also like you are due for an upgrade. Like let's be real, like you've had a system for a decade now, and like like if we were to bring this back to 2006 into 2016, that computer could not run a single game that the 2016 computer could run. Like it's just wildly different.
I think that really goes to show how like little progress we've made, or the advancements have just come to a halt. Because yeah, you couldn't run like a 2006 gaming computer would not be able to run a single game from 2016. It just wouldn't happen. It would just fail to load, right? It would be it would be, or if it did, it'd be way too sluggish. But now, yeah, you can go back and see people still running stuff like R9 290s from like 2013 and being like, yeah, it works for me, right? Like you have like different groups of people, right? You'll see people who are like, I want to get 200 FPS, and yeah, I want to upgrade to something, the latest and greatest. But then you'll still have people who are like, hey, if I can hit play and just get somewhat of a playable experience, then it works fine for me, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I'm sorry, I think I was getting a little bit passionate there, but it's just this is a topic. It is a topic that's been on my mind a lot over the last several months, and it's just because, dang it, I want to be excited again. And part of that's my fault because I'm too tuned in. Like I need to just tune out and not pay attention to stuff for a while. And then when I come back, it'll feel like a surprise. Right. But then the trade-off to that is I can't do my job on YouTube. I can't accurately make videos. And, I'll be talking about stuff I know nothing about at that point. So it's definitely a trade-off. And I think the curse of doing tech YouTube is, you do lose your fire for a lot of stuff. And I remember distinctly early on, I think it was a Bitwit video. I like Bitwit, by the way. So this is not anything negative. I was watching a Bitwit video and he was walking around his massive storage area with all these products that he got for free. He's like, yeah, I haven't really done anything with these, or I've done them and they're collecting dust. I'm just going to, give some stuff away. Right. And I remember thinking, this was early on when I was on YouTube, and I was like, I could never imagine being in that position. Like if I had that stuff, I would cherish it forever. I would never lose interest in that stuff. How could he be so? I remember having these thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. Fast forward to 2025. That's me, man. You can't see it because it's dark. That corner over there from top to the bottom, from the 5060 Ti all the way up to the 5090 is just GPUs that were sent to me. And I've done my due diligence. I've done reviews on them. But other than the one GPU I'm using in my system and one on the test bench over there, the rest of them are just sitting there collecting dust. And now I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to do more content on this and get more life out of it? And then I'm like, that's a lot of work. Is there a way to
a couple things?
I know. I got ideas, but yeah. Go ahead.
Obviously holding on to them long term for testing, like Danny, I know this would be you all the way, dude. Like holding on to that stuff to do comparisons in the future is pretty important. Yeah, obviously. But let's say you had like an extra one or something. Do a video, hook up a friend, family member, something like that. Ask Asus if they're cool with it. I'm sure they would. You've already done your job. You've done all the work.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually working on that. Before we started this, I actually texted a buddy, and he's on console, and so he's going to be one I have to be very careful with getting him on the PC. I finally got him open to the idea. I have to be very careful about what I give him and what settings I enable, what brands I'm using, if you catch my drift. So I got to be very careful there. I was asking him hey, do you have any preferences and stuff? And I'm thinking about, okay, what I got in the corner over there that I could give him. And so, I am thinking like that. And I don't want this to come across like I'm not grateful. I'm grateful for everything I got, guys. I'm grateful for all of it. But the point that I'm making is that when you walk a mile in somebody's shoes, you get the information, you get the experience, what you think it was going to be. I remember I thought when I hit 10,000 subs on YouTube, I thought my life would change, and it didn't. I still can't even hit 30,000. That's been the longest struggle forever. And sometimes I upload videos and I feel like I still have 1,000 subs watching. It's almost like it doesn't even matter anymore. But there's just, I don't know, it's just there's a lot of stuff in the tech space. Like I'm not going anywhere, I'm not quitting or anything, but it does feel like the magic is gone.
Because things just came to a halt, right?
Yeah,
we're tapped out, guys. It's like you talking about Apple, and that was a great way to actually start this segment. Is because Apple,
I agree,
Nvidia, and Intel, AMD, they're all relying on who now? TSMC. Like they're basically the sole major provider for like silicon, and you just hear so much of it now, right? We're maxed out with the technology. Like we can't go really much further than this, right? We're 3 nanometer, the next one is 2 nanometer. Whereas going back a couple decades ago, it was like 6 to 12 months. Within that time span, it was new GPU, new technology came out, and it's blazing fast. It's like 50, 200% faster than the old one. Your old one, forget it. It's obsolete. Go upgrade
Yeah.
to the new thing. You're going to see an
Yeah.
immense jump. Now that's not the case because
Right.
we're just tapped out on that technology. And so that's why you see all these companies, you know, like Nvidia, they're getting all these creative ideas because they still need to find a way to sell the new series. They still need to find a way to move units. Even though they could just be chill and be like, hey, you know what, fuck it, we're just on AI, right?
Yeah.
We're just gonna ride the AI gravy train because, you know, gaming is like, it's less than whatever their R&D segment is now, so it's so insignificant. But yeah, it's just the technology, right? And it's funny because I was watching an interview of Jensen talking about it this morning. Like, you know, we're probably gonna have to move on to something like silicon photonics, something totally new to at least start propelling things forward again. Because right now we're just maxed out, and that's why you see them doing all this other stuff. Like, all right, software AI based, you know, frame generation. That's one way they propose how you can get more performance. Which, you know, we all know that's not real performance boosting techniques. It's just frame smoothing. That's all that is, right? So that's what it really comes down to. We're just tapped out on technology, and then that's just spilling over into getting excited about the hardware. People are seeing it, like, you know, in the marketing, in what the capabilities of the hardware is. And yeah, that magic is just gone. Like, we're not seeing that advancement anymore. Nothing really to get excited about unless, you know, that new technology, new gimmick or whatever kind of appeals to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is why you see people going back and saying stuff like, yeah, I'm just going to go back and replay old games, which, I mean, in that on that note, like something like RTX Remix, like if you guys saw
that's
and
awesome.
That is
demos
cool.
on those
That is
things,
cool.
that's actually going to be a big seller, right? And if that's going to be something that depends on AI accelerated horsepower, then yeah, I mean, Nvidia is going to do well in that area too, because there's going to be a lot of people who are like, you know, I want to go back and, like, you guys saw what they did with Oblivion Remastered, right? Like,
Yeah, it was great.
total
Please
change for the
follow,
better.
please.
Yeah. So Fallout, yeah, like you might see if they don't do it themselves, there might, once they start opening that up to individual developers and modders who can get their hands on RTX Remix and do stuff like that. You know, we saw like Half-Life 2 Remix. Like, I know they have some demos out, but that looks insane. I really want to play that. You know, if
It
they do
does
that
look
with
good.
Morrowind, you know, classic games, then I feel like that's gonna be the way forward. They're gonna have to we're just going to be seeing creative stuff like that rather than seeing traditional big hardware leaps, right? I mean, that's not to say they can't excite us with other types of innovations, but I think ultimately the tech that they all rely on, because it's just at the limit, it's holding everything back.
I think the baseline too for stuff is insane. Like, you guys remember the Nvidia Shield handheld?
Yes.
It's like the first time you could play Half-Life on the go. Like, that was insane.
Yeah.
And I have like a coworker, and he's over on it. He has a PS5 and no PC, nothing. And he's playing Call of Duty mobile on his phone all the time. And I was like, why do you like play on PS5? And he's like, I don't know, dude. It's really not that different. And like, I'm watching him play it on his phone, and he has like a pretty decent phone, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm like, so like the baseline for like the bottom end stuff is just like way higher than it's ever been. And so watching him play that, and it was like, obviously for us, we're like kind of nuts. Like, it's nothing like what it is on the phone. But for somebody who doesn't really understand that, they really don't care, because the baseline, again, the entry to what you can do is just so low at this point, that, or not low, I should say. The things are actually gotten so good. And this kind of almost is hypocritical what we're saying about like moving forward, but like the baseline, again, like a basic phone that has a good processor in it can do a lot of things. And I remember a couple of years ago too, like even playing a few games on the tablet, being like, wow, the tablet has gotten really far. A lot of it's trickery, because the mobile apps are all kind of like using some kind of strange engine to like make things look better than it actually is.
Qualcomm has their own upscaler and their own frame generation tech now too, so a lot of those games are actually relying on that.
They all do. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you had any more to say, Danny. I had a few things I was going to bring up, but
No, go ahead.
one of the things I remember, and Erock, I want to say this too about you, because
Okay.
I feel you, bro. Like, honestly, because when the 50 series dropped, we all kind of knew the 50 series was like the 40 Super Series, like in all reality, in a lot of ways. The 5090, of course, is further out, but it's not the 4090 or the 1080 Ti, which are the two OG monster jumps, right?
Yeah.
So we're not getting that jump because we are on the same process node, basically, with some tweaking and whatever. And of course, there's AI tops, but other
Yeah.
than that, right, it's not that big of a difference. And so when you got reached out from Asus, I was like,
Hmm.
oh, this is a dream situation, right? Like
Yeah.
you're a content creator, Asus reached out to you, and they're like, hey, I want to work with you,
Yeah.
and then it's like their GPUs look sick. This is
Yeah.
actually, in my opinion, probably one of the best looking generations for them. Like visually, like they did a really good job. The Astro looks amazing.
Yeah. Astral is gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like all of their cards, you know, we can get into the pricing and stuff like that, but it was like I was kind of like, damn, like the performance jump versus like what it could be, you know, like an
Hmm.
Ampere generation versus like right now. It just sucks
Yeah.
because it's like you have all of these kind of lesser than
Yeah.
interested people. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, there was a lot of interest from the
Yeah. Yeah.
Ampere generation. Like there are people that were, I remember Linus said this. Like Linus said, not that I like watch everything he does, but it was, I think it
Yeah.
was like a WAN show episode, and
Hmm.
everyone's like, oh, don't upgrade to the 5090. And he's like, guys, like I keep saying this again over and over. I'm not going to upgrade. And now it's like, I have to upgrade at this point. So he went and upgraded to the 5090, and it was like, I get it. You know, like you skipped a whole generation. They didn't give us what we might have thought it could have been. And they gave
Yeah.
us less because of the node. And obviously, also that goes to the TSMC situation where it's like we're only using TSMC, so we're all limited by this whole thing. And like that's also scary in itself because of Intel. Like I'm sure you guys watched that Intel video
Yep.
from Steve, but it's like
It's not looking good.
Yeah.
like them being like we're possibly not going to launch a next generation is kind of wild. And also, and like I don't know like how deep that is like behind the scenes, and if
There's a lot
like
of politics behind it.
yeah, there's tons of politics, that's a whole other thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, going back, sorry, I'm getting a little off pace here, but like going back to the whole like the feeling of passion being gone,
Yeah.
it is definitely tough, man. Like I remember and I brought this up at one point, I think E-Rock, in like one of our first things that we were talking about, but the
Yeah.
980 Ti, dude, I built my dad a PC. I was in
Hmm.
Micro Center, and I got a Gigabyte WindForce 980 Ti. It was like the last one on the shelf, and there was like a group of dudes around me just being like, "Oh my god, that's so sick! Like that's amazing." Today, that kind of like value, like, and also like the niche factor of PC hardware back then too. It was like if you know, you know. It was kind of like,
Hmm.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you just got a 980 Ti, like that's sick. Whereas now it's like, I don't know. I go to like my kid's school, and there's a kid being like, I just got a 5060. And I'm like, oh, all right. They just know. Kid's
Yeah.
like 10 years old, you know?
Yeah.
But so like there's a little bit of a, it's like, I personally think it's a little bit of me. And I think as people get older, generationally, like I see the interest with younger kids still being there. And
Yeah.
like maybe they're like, you know, really interested, and they have their own thing. Like I tried to understand like Fortnite, and like one day I was playing Fortnite on my PlayStation 5 downstairs, and I was like, I get it. I get why like kids are into this, and I could never be. This is not for me, but I understand why like this young generation, they probably had all these years of playing this one game, and like it has this nostalgic thing to it. And I think as we're getting older too, with like the hardware stuff, and we're seeing this slowdown, and then the games are kind of getting less and less creative, and they're using more like tech stuff, like upscaling to fix problems. And like we were talking about
Hmm.
earlier with the whole entire aspect of like every game comes out buggy or broken. We didn't really experience that growing up. It was kind of like we were given pretty polished, finished
Hmm.
stuff because they had to do that. And if they
Yeah.
didn't do it,
Yeah.
then you know, like anyone remember the game Driver 3? Like that was a
I didn't play it, but I
no.
remember that.
Never
Like,
played it.
It was the GTA competitor back in the day, and it was the first game where it was so unpolished that you could like literally send your, it had a movie maker mode in it, and you could send your car to the fucking moon. Like you could just like blow it up, and there was so many problems, but it was so fun to play because of that reason. And but it was funny because like today we would be like, oh, that's Bethesda, that's fine. And you're like,
yeah.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It had that
giving it
Bethesda
excuse.
charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
just
not
like
a
you give
bug. It's a feature.
it's a
Yeah.
feature. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like we just like it's a mix between like we're allowing these things to happen,
Hmm.
and then or we criticize it so much that the game fails, and then the company's like, I don't want to do this now. And there's like a weird in between where it's like It's like I really want Battlefield 6 to succeed because they like Call of Duty needs to be slapped in the face at this point. Like, and by the way, there was another thing about those characters, not to go back to Battlefield 6, but like those Beavis and Butthead characters, dude, their hair doesn't have like from here, their forehead up,
Doesn't
no
have,
like hit markers. Yes, hitbox. So like people were like aiming at like their top of the forehead and missing shots. So they actually were like, these skins are actually OP because there's like hitbox issues and like their arms are skinnier and the hitboxes are different. So there's a lot of talk about like pay to play, cheating, kind of that kind of stuff going on. But yeah,
it reminds me how back in the day I used to play Gears of War quite competitively, and I would always pick the female characters because they had the skinnier hitboxes.
Oh my god, same.
Nice.
I still to this day feel that way in Call of Duty, and I pick a lot of the female characters, and it's just something I do. Ghosts. Do you guys remember Ghosts?
Yeah.
One of the worst. One of the worst, but actually near and dear to my heart because I played a lot with a lot of my friends back then.
Same.
And it was like the first time they had these kind of sick female characters with like mohawks and like spiky like and this was before it went all like cartoony and like Nicki Minaj or whatever. And like they were cool. They looked cool. They had sick masks, and the female characters were small and their hitboxes were smaller. And I don't remember, I could be completely wrong about this, and someone down in the comments correct me if you want, but like I'm pretty sure they had a lower health bar by a little bit. It might have been like 5%. I don't remember specifically, but I remember maybe it was something else. But long story short, I was still picking those characters because exactly like you said, Danny, the smaller hitbox. Just like fun, you know. But
Halo 3, we used to do that with elites and SWAT. So there was a game mode called SWAT. Yeah, and back in Halo 3, you could actually play as, you know, a Spartan or an elite. But if you played as an elite, then it was actually harder to hit the head. So it was just basically a bunch of elites running around. I remember that. But yeah, I mean, with Ghost, I mean, you're right on everything you said, dude. Ghost was horribly received. It was not positively looked upon, but it's actually near and dear to my heart. It's one of my guilty pleasures because when Ghost came out, I didn't play it on the 360 the week before the Xbox One launched. I waited the week for the one to launch, and then the Xbox One was the first console, one, I could ever pre-order, two, I could get at a midnight release, and then Ghost was the first game I played on it. So, and then I also played it with my best friend who is actually a YouTuber now, and he has a gaming channel, and so it's just a lot of memories there. Objectively, it's like, yeah, I get it, the game was bad, right? But in the moment, it's like it's all you had, and I think that really kind of goes to like the core experience with a lot of gaming today in 2025 and over the years. And even with some of the tech is like sharing it with your friends because going back to the whole like Apple thing and Android thing, I remember for a while I got on an iPhone and a couple of my buddies around me were very much like Android's better, blah, blah, blah. And we used to have these debates all the time. And then I was married, moving on with my life. They stayed single. They kept dating, and then they realized having an Android phone at that point in time was actually hurting their dating life because girls only wanted to text guys with the blue bubbles and iMessage. So my friend literally sold his phone or traded it in and got an iPhone just so he could get a chick.
I'm still on the Pixel, man.
I know you are. I'm aware.
The bubbles.
We text, and I'm aware. Nah, it's all good. But
so you don't want to go on a date now.
Yeah, that's totally the reason why.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's totally the reason why I don't want to date you, Kyle. 100%, bro.
It's not an Apple user. It's a big turn off.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man. That's good, guys. That's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, to put a positive spin on everything, tech really has come a long way, and we like. I'm totally speaking, I guess, from a place of being spoiled because tech is really good. So, okay, I got those two GTX 260s, whatever it is, the Batman GPU
285s,
maybe. I don't know. I don't freaking remember. But I just bought these Batman
285s.
Okay, so I just bought these Batman Arkham Asylum GPUs, and so again, I'm a big Batman fan, and so I was going back through and watching a bunch of Batman Arkham videos, and then my buddy texted me, and he's like, "Hey." He's like, did you know they made limited edition Arkham Asylum GPUs? And they also have an Arkham City GPU. I was like, what? And I looked it up. Sure enough, not only is it true, these things are like impossible to find.
Mhm.
I'm not even like, hey, go to eBay and pay $5,000 for it. No. Like legit, these things are just not really available. And so I literally bought the only ones on eBay. There was only one listing for it, and I bought it for the Arkham Asylum ones. And that's what I've been trying to go and do the SLI with. And
How much did you pay for them?
I paid, so I went back and looked. It was 125 before tax. I think after taxes and shipping, I was like up to 150 bucks.
It's
Right?
not bad for a, like a
Yeah.
Like a
specialty GPU.
collector's,
Yeah, no,
type of
I
thing.
mean, dude, like I said, I'm a Batman fan, so I'm gonna pay that anyway. Like, I'm gonna, like, I have like collector's editions of the Arkham games. That, like, yeah, I'm getting it anyway.
Cool. Yeah.
But anyway, I want to make a video on this, and so I'm like, okay, let's see how well the one GPU runs Arkham Asylum. It is an Arkham Asylum GPU, and then you realize, okay, 1080p pushing high, you're getting like 40 FPS, and it's pretty rough. I'm like, okay, SLI time, and then I've been spending all this time doing SLI and having a lot of trouble getting it working, but I think I'm right there. I just need a new cable, so I ordered it. Should be here tomorrow. We'll find out. Well, going through this process of trying to figure out, okay, and I'm using all this like really old hardware, like the whole system I'm putting this in is very old stuff. And, you just take advantage of things, right? Like built-in Wi-Fi cards, not a thing. Built-in Bluetooth, not a thing.
Not a thing, yeah.
Yeah, I try. My buddy, when we were having so many issues, he's like, "Screw it, let's just downgrade it. Let's put it on Windows 7. I know it'll work on Windows 7. That's probably what it is. Let's just do Windows 7." Turns out that wasn't the solution. But I said, you know what? You're right. Let's do that. So we spent over 2 hours this afternoon trying to find a legitimate copy of Windows 7 that's available to download. Using Rufus to put it on a USB, go through the whole process, and it would not install for whatever reason. I just kept getting corruption errors and something wrong with the disk. And finally I said, you know what? I'm done with Windows 7. This Windows 10 we got on here, it should work. As I spoke to my guys, Danny, and I was like, Danny says it works. And I Googled it. It says it works. I believe Danny. I believe Google. I think this should work. I don't think Windows 7 is our solution here. So then I just went through the repair features inside Windows and said, okay, let's reset this PC, reinstall Windows 10 from scratch. So about 45 minutes later, got a fresh copy of Windows 10. Still wasn't working. And then my buddy's like, let's try my motherboard. And again, it's another older motherboard, but it's slightly newer. Popped it on there, immediately recognized both the GPUs or showing up in device manager. And I'm like, motherfreaker, man, all that time wasted. But just going through this process, right, of okay, Windows 7 is not supported anymore. So
that's
Microsoft,
how it was, man.
Yeah, it's like Windows 7 is not supported anymore. So Microsoft doesn't want to put their name on it and give it to you from their website. So you have to go to this other website to get it. And then I don't even know if this is working or not. And then I try to install it and it doesn't want to install. I don't have Wi-Fi. I don't have Bluetooth. So I have to run my Ethernet cable all the way across, and it's just, so tech has come a very long way. I mean, but it's hard to get excited about it because we know what to expect, and it's going to be marginal instead of revolutionary. Anyway,
I think one of the things, like speaking on the tech has come really far. So years ago, I used to be like really into cars, and I had like a Mitsubishi Evo, and I spent all this time like tuning and stuff. And when that whole hobby kind of like fell off, and I really got into PCs like around 2013. That was like the highlight time. I think by 2014, I had at that point an X79 system with 3-way 780 Ti's. And the nightmare it was to get that computer to work correctly was like insane. Like I was so excited about buying all of these cards and all this stuff. And like, I'm literally spending all this money I used to spend on like my car parts. That was like my fun. Right. And I'm like, I'm just going to go all in on PC. And to get that to work correctly, like I think to this day, I maybe got 3 games to run correctly. Wow. And it was like, and the other thing too, going back to like X58, X79, even just putting RAM into the motherboard is like a on-off process where like you put one stick in, turn it on, turn it off, put another stick in, turn it on. All right, now let's do the left side. And like it wouldn't always work correctly. And dude, it was weird how many of those quirks, and like you see it today a little bit with like AMD and running like DDR5 and like Erock, when I found your video a long time ago with people having issues with AMD right out of the gate. But it's not like it was. It was actually a hard, like you would go on to like Tom's Hardware and be sitting there hoping that someone reply to you at like 10:30 at night while you're
Yeah. Oh my
dripping down your
god.
face, and you're like, did I just
Forums.
ruin my whole computer? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole forum days. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
And then it
like
would feel
today,
so good when you'd finally find that solution.
yeah, which
Yeah.
by the way, I kind of miss those days because I will go online occasionally for an issue. And like I remember a couple of years ago, right when I got the 13th gen CPU, I had these crazy problems, man. And like I had reached out to like people on Facebook, and it was just like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, all right, that's not working. So I had to like go to like Asus's forums because I was using an Asus board, and I was like, anyone have this issue? I finally got some good answers, and people were like, oh, it's a problem. They're having issues like with this, with that. And it took a while, and it wasn't until I made that video talking about it with like clipping the Brian clips about the latency problems and stuttering
Yeah.
and all these weird things until it started to get a little bit of momentum. And it wasn't even about that. It was just like just discovering a person who would talk to you legitimately without
Mhm.
insulting you for not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like a tech tuber at this point. Like I'm already making videos. I've since 2013, my obsession was like, oh, I can also make a little money on the side by selling it in computers. And I was doing that, and I've been doing that since 2013. It's been a long time. And you'd think I would know all of these things, but you just don't. You can't know everything. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
You can't.
And so when you get to a point, you buy a new motherboard, and it's like honestly, dude, I build so many systems all the time, and every time I upgrade my own system, I have problems that no one else has. It's just like
Yeah.
I'm like afraid to upgrade my computer. Like the GPU is one thing, but like the platform itself,
Mhm.
every time. And I remember even like X299, dude, like X299 was a nightmare. There was like VRM issues with the motherboards. I don't know if you guys remember this or know about it, but basically Asus, Gigabyte, all the popular brands, MSI, they under designed the VRM cooling on the boards,
Which
and so
series
the
was this? Or which generation?
X299.
X299. Okay. Yeah. That
So
that was
I
with
was
what, the 6000 Broadwell parts or Skylake
that would have
E?
been
Skylake E.
7900, 80
7960.
XD.
Okay, so that was Skylake E.
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
that generation. So what I was doing, I was kind of copying the YouTubers. I'm not gonna lie. I would always see their X build, so I would go X79, X99, and then X299, and I was just obsessed with that kind of quad channel memory thing,
Mhm.
which was a nightmare. And it works good, but when it does. But that whole process of dealing with that, I had 4 motherboards die back to back because
Wow.
the CPU just cooked the VRMs. And like basically yeah, I don't and it wasn't until Asus, which by the way, I was such a hardcore Asus dude that I would never go off their platform. They came out with an X299 Deluxe version 2 where like the heatsink on the whole design was like massive. And the one previously was this tiny little like terrible cooler or like heatsink around the top of the CPU. And that whole entire problem that existed was just like it took me disassembling a custom loop 4 times. It's like in like a year and a half. I was like going back to Micro Center, and everyone there was like, man, you have bad luck. And I was like, there's something about this though. And then all the Rampage boards got pulled off the shelf because all of them had problems. And it was like,
Mm.
oh, so I'm right. I wasn't wrong. Like
Yeah. Dude,
it's
honestly,
just
like you telling us this story and going through so many of those experiences, because with the flipping business you do and all the hardware you come across, like I feel like you could start your own like like optimizing service or troubleshooting service for folks, not like your general like office PC troubleshooting, but like people who are like, hey, I want a good gaming PC, something that's stable, and you
yeah.
could offer some really good service and advice to those people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I try to do it in general with people, but also a lot of times people are looking for like really cheaper end hardware, and there's like,
Hmm.
hey, and it's
Yeah.
like I switched, and this is no offense to you, Erock and Asus. We've had these conversations in
Oh
the
yeah.
background,
Yeah.
but I kind of switched to a couple other brands. I don't even really I'm not even really an MSI fan, but MSI takes the boards without question on RMA from anyone who buys something from me. And if something goes wrong and they bring it back and they're like, hey, what's up with this? And I'm like, oh, it's the motherboard, which I never like hearing because it's this whole process. You got to get another Windows key and all this stuff.
Lengthy,
But
yeah.
Yeah.
like every time that's happened, I just send the motherboard in, no problem. With Asus, it's a whole different story. Um, ASRock, I haven't had the same problems due to Armory Crate and stuff. And I try to tell people, like, lately I've been like, I'm not, if they have an Asus board or they want an Asus board, I'll never say no. And like Asus has been kind of regrowing on me too. Like I do think that they'll have a comeback. I did notice that they slowed down their product launches. So there's been like less, the year of 2024, dude, it was like, I was on the Asus DIY group, and it was like every day I feel like there was a new announcement for a new product. And I was like, okay, you guys are collabing with IKEA now. You guys are doing this. You guys are doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, you have to focus on product support as long as you can for the people who buy it. And if like you have too much stuff, and like at that time, I think Asus was worth around $11 billion, which is crazy. Like they're a big company. But my point was that it was like, to get that product support long term, you need somebody like with that EVGA passion. You need like that kind of like, all right, we're gonna hook it up, we'll look at it. And like, don't get me wrong, EVGA had problems too, but I just it was one of those things where I was picking more boards like MSI, just because MSI was like, oh, it was easy to just send off, and if it did come back, I'd be like, hey, warranty done, returned, back, you know. But yeah, I don't know, not too much more to say on that one, but
yeah, no. I mean, my two thoughts, my couple of thoughts on that is, I mean, one, no apology needed to me. I don't work for Asus. It's whatever. You know, I mean,
I don't want to diss them. I do think they're a good company. I just think they had some up and downs. You know?
Yeah, no, for sure. It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. I can't remember if it was last segment or this segment, but probably. But you know, it's just like all companies are made up of people, and people make mistakes, and it's just what it is. I mean, I think you stay with any company too long, you're eventually going to find some stuff. I mean,
can I compliment Asus really quick before you keep going?
Sure.
Asus led the design path to what we have today. All of the unique designs, the coolest stuff. Like this is like when we were talking, Erock, about like designs and stuff. I want those old Mars GPUs for a collection. Any of like that cool stuff. MSI did it too with like the Lightning, but like Asus motherboards were the sickest, dude. And they still, to this day, I think are kind of the sickest looking design wise. And then sometimes you'll get a good one that carries over from like ASRock, MSI, or Gigabyte. But yeah, go back to
no, I mean, like I was saying, I mean, like I'd be honest with you, I don't really know what made Asus work with me to begin with. I really don't, because
you're a good channel, bro.
Well, I appreciate that, but you know, MSI won't return any of my emails. ASRock started working with me, rep left, got a new rep. Out of the 3 items they sent me, the only one they asked about was the GPU, so I prioritized that, and then haven't heard crap back. I had SanDisk send me a Gen 5 drive. I featured that in a build. I sent it to them, no response. So I mean, Asus has been the only one, and I mean, like, I could totally see them looking at me and being like, we don't want to work with this guy, it's too small, right? But you know, but with that being said,
don't sell yourself short, though.
Well, I appreciate it.
The tech space is crowded, you know. And
like, it's very crowded.
and so for Asus at the level that they are, to actually pick you as like a person to do a lot of stuff is an impressive thing in itself, you know.
I appreciate it, but your feedback is definitely valuable. And so I put it to you this way, right? It's no secret now they've had a change in their rep and who they're going to be working with. And that's why you see Jay is now publicly like, I'm working with Asus again. Bitwit is also working with them again. I don't think he ever made a statement about not working with them, but if you looked at his catalog, he wasn't really doing any Asus stuff. And then right around the time Jay was like, I'm working with Asus again, Bitwit put out a video with an Asus product in it. So more bigger tech YouTube. So more bigger tech YouTubers are starting to go back to Asus now because they've had a change in rep from what I understand. And this new rep, I mean, he is a great guy, but I also worry about me. I'm like, oh, I get it. Jay wasn't working with you before, so you sent me his Astral. But now that Jay's working with you, I fall to the wayside. That's my fear, but whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, it's okay, because it kind of goes back to what we're talking about in probably shouldn't be talking about this, but I don't care anymore. It goes back to what we were talking about privately and texting, which is I've had so many products to review for so long, like I've lost my sense of creativity. Like I don't know how to just make a creative video anymore. Like the Pokemon skit that I did with the 5070 Ti, that 5070 Ti came from Asus with no expectation. Hey, put that in the Nero Cinema build. I'm like, well, I'm going to put it in the build. All right, but I'm going to have some fun with it first. And now I was like, I can be fun. Like, this is stupid. It is a corny, and that's the point.
Yeah, who cares?
And everybody can laugh, and everybody can say that's a cool skit. And if you looked at, the majority of the comments on it, most of the comments are about the Pokemon skit. Nobody, like almost nobody was complaining about, oh, the price and Asus is evil. Like, I didn't have to hear any of that crap. Everybody was focused on the skit. And I was like, man, I got to find more ways to do skits and stuff.
That X99 video I did succeeded from the skit, and then every once in a while I'll get a comment that's like, God, this is 90% garbage. And I'm like, well, everyone's, I don't know, having a good time watching it.
You had a good skit. It was fun. But no, so Asus, I'll say this. I think overall, like in terms of aesthetics, I do think they make some of the best looking products out there. I just do. Yeah. The Astral is freaking sexy as crap. I mean, the next PC I'm building, I was actually debating not even putting my 5090 in there and just putting the Astral in it because it's so aesthetically pleasing. But I'm like, it's also a 5080. It only has 16 gigs of VRAM. So I'm weighing all these things. But then
is that for yourself or?
Yeah, for myself. But then I'm like, I got to go with the 5090. And then Asus called me and said, hey, we got this build we want you to do, but we don't have a GPU for you. Can you put the Astral that we sent you in it? I said, okay, great. So now I got something to do with the Astral. So I'm just waiting on them to send me some parts. But I do think they make some very aesthetically pleasing products. I do agree with what you said. They have like pioneered the way on a lot of the things you see on the board, whether if it's like, a queue release feature or something like that. But I also agree that the pricing could be better. And like they're sending me a board. They're supposed to be sending me a board next week. And I think it's the Hero, and it's like $700 MSRP. And I called Asus and I said, hey, look, I want this board because it's gorgeous and I want to put it in my build. And I think it's going to be sexy as all get out. But please tell me why should anybody buy this board? Because I'm really struggling to see that feature. Because I'm looking at this was a real conversation I had with them, and I was dead serious, and I just said, look, man, I was like, everything that's on this board from what I see, unless I'm not seeing something, it's pretty much on the board I already reviewed with the ROG Strix, and that board is $200 cheaper.
Yeah.
Dude. I'm like, this board is significantly sexier in every way, right? And I think the RAM compatibility is probably better. So, and if you're gonna do like try to do some extreme overclocking, it's probably gonna be better on the Hero. But then I'm also like, I have a 9950 X3D, and X3D chips don't really overclock, so like that. So I'm like, I don't know. So I'm in a bind there, but I'll figure something out.
For AMD, like the whole entire situation with buying an Asus board that's high end, like it could make sense if you really are an enthusiast with that kind of stuff, and you're like, I want the best of the best, whatever. And also just the bragging rights. So like, come on, let's be real. A lot of times it is this like, look at this ridiculous build type thing, right? But that last Intel setup, the Ultra series, dude. If you went out and bought one of these like $900 Asus boards, the burn that comes with that is just like next.
I don't even want to think. I don't even want to think about that.
And so for me, it sucks because it's like we expected at least one more CPU on that platform, and like I think Danny, you had said this too. Like you were like, we get what we agree that we get what we're trying to do here. Lower the wattage and all that stuff, and try to make it efficient and do whatever. There's going to be something else that's better coming on it, and then they just dumped it, and you're like even, I mean, Asus might even be mad about it, who knows? But it was just one of those things where I see those boards and I look at them, and like every once in a while I'll get one. Like I had one of those, I think I showed you guys, I had one of those like $600 Z790s come through when I bought that weird custom green loop Thermaltake case PC, and like that was like a $700 MSRP board, and it was sick, and I was like, oh, this is like such a nice board, but it was, there's no going forward. We're at the end of it, and AMD at least gives you some years of support with it, but I don't know.
It's interesting because I mean, I definitely agree, like Asus in many fronts leads the way for a lot of the design choices that have been implemented in motherboards with tweaking and everything, right? That's one of the reasons why I went with the Z790 Apex Encore for my main personal rig, because I've done some tweaking and playing around with other Z790 boards, and this board, like, especially because for like if you're into memory tuning, it was plug and play, dude. Like I've had quite the roller coaster ride with DDR5 and tuning it on LGA 1700, and I mean when I got my Apex Encore, it was like such a breath of fresh air because I was like, it feels like it's plug and play. It's like
designed for it.
Easy mode, yeah. Like it's like DDR5 8000 that back in that day was like it just works, right?
Yep.
So you and for my personal rig, like it's crucial, like that stability is key. Like I need 24/7 operation, whether it be for work, for editing, or for just gaming, or just general browsing, right? And that was and before in the early days of my channel, like a lot of my main testing and a lot of videos I did was on my main personal rig, and there'd be a lot of faffling that I'd be doing, and sometimes it would protrude or interfere with my main work, and then I'd put my PC in a state where it's like, okay, I screwed up something, and now I got to figure that out, and then get back to what I was doing. So I was like, eventually I was like, I got to set myself up with like an actual test bench platform, so to separate myself from rolling into that issue again. But I mean, Asus, they're really good on that front, and I think a lot of other manufacturers, they take design cues from them, and it goes back and forth. Some of the design cues they've taken from other manufacturers, but yeah, they've done some really good innovation in the space. EVGA, right, they have their Kingpin series, that's for like XOC and everything, right? And interesting you guys mentioned this with like all the samples you guys are getting. So like one question I have for you guys is, do you think burnout is coming into play here for us, right? For guys like us, burnout. And what I mean 100%. By that, and it goes back to what you're saying, is like ignorance is bliss, right? Because you might talk to someone who might be using, a PC from 2017. They might not be into this space, and you give them a PC like from today, from 2025, with like a 5000 series GPU, a 9950X3D, and their minds will be blown, right? With the difference that they're seeing with their old PC. But with us, because we're seeing it on repetition now, like, so as you guys said, that it was a dream to be able to get in touch with the manufacturer and get samples from them and then test out the hardware. But I guess because you start seeing it so frequently, that might take away from that excitement. So what do you guys think about that?
I agree. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, the magic is the magic is gone, because now it's like the board coming in, the Hero board coming in next week. I already know what all the stuff means. Like I'm not going to get there and get excited because of core flex or dynamic OC switching, because I know what that means now. A year ago, 2 years ago, I didn't know what that stuff meant because I wasn't into it and I wasn't getting the samples. And then I got the samples, and then I had to educate myself on what it meant. I had to play around with it. I had to make videos on it. Now it's like, oh, it's coming with core. I know what that is. Oh, it's coming with. Oh, I know what that is. So yeah, and it's like, okay, now it's like, got to make the video, got to put the video out, got to say the thing I've already said before, but I have to apply it to this product. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Yeah, like what you just said. I think that does play a role, but also, you can say no, but maybe it's not wise to do so. I don't know, because like I said before, like I know for me, like one of my biggest fears is I'm not even really on a train, I don't think. But if I am, I don't know when I'm supposed to get off or when somebody's going to kick me off. So it's like, ride the train for as many stops as I can until, because I don't, like I said before, like MSI hasn't worked with me. Deep Cool wanted to work with me. I got to do one product with them, and then they got sanctioned in the US, and I'm like, just my luck. ASRock right now is kind of 50-50. And then Gigabyte, never had any interaction with them. So it's like, if the Asus stuff eventually stops for me, I'm just back to just buying stuff myself. Which I'm not opposed to doing, but the funds are limited, right? So that really, that's like, I can't review every GPU at that point. I can only pick one or two, and that's it, so.
Which might work out better, because I know we've had that conversation. It's like, hey guys, just got this GPU, I'm super excited, right? It's just like,
and your video goes boom.
Yeah, I know. And then it's like, oh crap, I spent all that time working on that video, and it's like no one was really interested. And so it kind of, and in that way, it might work in your favor.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, working with manufacturers, it's interesting because in some ways it's cool, right? Like you can get the sample from them, and they're willing to work with you. And then in some ways, I've turned away companies because I'm like, you guys, that's just not the way I operate. Like,
same, I've done that too.
The way I operate, it's really simple. Like, you guys can tell me the features of the product, what you might want me to highlight, but ultimately it comes down to, I'll pick whatever the heck I want to say in that video. I'll structure it in whatever way, and what I like about it, what I don't like about it, everything will be said. It'll be just tailored towards the way I want to review the product. And if you guys are cool with it, cool, we'll roll with it, and then you guys will see a video from me. But if that's not the case, if you guys don't agree with that, then unfortunately that's just not going to happen, and I'll be happy to just, buy the product myself, which is one of the reasons why it's been really cool working with MSI, because that's exactly what they do, and I didn't expect that from them. They just tell me that, hey, there's this product, there's this board or GPU that you want to check out. I'm like, cool, yeah, send it over, and I'll ask them still. I'm like, hey, is there any specific thing you want to highlight to me? And they're like, no, yeah, just there's this cool feature, but you can just do your thing and highlight it and showcase it in whatever way possible. So that's really awesome for them that they're continuing to work with me like that. And that's just, I feel like that's a good transaction to have.
Yeah, that MSI 5080 you got is sexy, dude.
Yeah,
I think that's the best GPU like design that they had. Like, that thing is gorgeous.
That grill on it's unique. It reminds me of like the C300 AMG grill.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys. It looks just like that. I'm like, that's a classy touch.
Nice.
It definitely is a classy card.
Yeah, it's a good looking card, man. I like it. I like it a lot. But no, I'm happy for you, man. I'm glad you got that connection with MSI, and I'm glad that they're chill like that. ASRock was pretty chill with me. I didn't really do a whole lot on the 9070. Like, I highlighted a couple of things in the Battlefield video. I made a dedicated short around it, and I sent that over, and they were just like, "Cool, thanks." And that was it. There was no pushback. I didn't get a novel about all the things I missed. But anyway, they were just like, thanks, cool, hope to work with you again soon, is what they said, and that was it. And I was like, all right, cool. So